and welcome to the Serpent Temple podcast. We are doing a weekly review. This week we're only going to be looking at two new albums. The first one is Green Lung's Black Harvest, released in 2021. The second is Mystras' Empire's Vanquished and Dismantled, released in 2021. Now, Floyd, what did you think of Green Lung?
So first and foremost, because I keep seeing this on every other podcast, how have you been, Nina?
What?
How's your weekend? How's life been? You've had a busy time, haven't you?
I've been very busy, actually.
Yeah, I think we've both been kind of busy and tired, haven't we?
We've been fucking, so burned out lately, but this has been like a little oasis amidst all the chaos, surrounded by more chaos.
That reminds me, I forgot to turn the heating on. It's quite warm in here, though, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. We're all layered up, which is good and healthy and stuff. But yeah, so you are well.
Yeah, all is good. All is good.
Good.
I'm about to start watching the new TV show called Hellbound.
Okay.
So it's the same person that directed Train to Busan.
I've heard about this. It's like a zombie thing.
It's a zombie film. It's probably one of the best zombie films, as well as 28 Days Later. It's got that same kind of zombie. I don't know if you've ever seen 28 Days Later, but they're like super fast, like rabid zombies. You don't like zombies, do you?
I'm not into them. I did watch that really cringe zombie film, which was like a love story. And like the main guy looks like Gerard Way. What was it called? And he's like a zombie that falls in love with like a human. And it turns out it's just really weird.
That sounds terrible.
It's kind of bad good.
I was getting worried for a second. You said, "Oh, that cringe zombie film." I was like, "Don't say Shaun of the Dead."
That is pretty fucking cringe. Yeah, I have actually seen that, but that sounds pretty good. I've heard some hype around that.
Yeah, no, I think just the Korean sort of TV and film market are just killing the game these days. Everyone's losing their mind over Squid Game, and this Hellbound's meant to be really good, so I'm going to give that a shot tonight.
There's some really good underground like Korean films and stuff from back in the day that I can thoroughly recommend. Obviously, you've seen Old Boy, I'm assuming.
Oh, Old Boy, I fucking love that.
There's one that's really good I think it's called I'm a Robot, But That's Okay. Yeah. And it's like a love story set in a mental institution where the main character legit thinks they're a robot.
Yeah, that sounds pretty...
really cute and sad.
Sounds pretty wild.
Yeah.
Do you know, I heard that because... You know, the US done a remake of Old Boy.
It's really bad. I've seen it.
Meant to be. You've seen it.
I've seen it. It's so there's loads of Louis Vuitton product placement in it.
Oh, for fuck's
There's
sake.
a scene. It's like so fucking cringe because it's Old Boy and it's got like the original has one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen.
What, like the one shot hallway scene?
The one shot hallway scene with a hammer. Like the first time I saw that, I was like, "Fuck yes!"
Is he using a Louis Vuitton bag to kill everyone?
Well, they don't even fucking bother doing it. I don't think in the American. I've blocked it out, but basically, like, it's just so Americanized. They've just made it shit. Like none of the rawness of what makes it good is there from the original version. And yeah, like there's a scene where they put him in a suitcase, and it's like a massive Louis Vuitton trunk, and he like opens it up in a park.
Fuck off!
It's like broad daylight. It's like fuck off.
That is shit.
It's so bad. Don't watch it.
Yeah, they're remaking Train to Busan as well. Just the Western cinema. They can't just leave shit alone.
I know.
It's not good enough that a film...
They're going to put The Rock in it as a zombie.
Oh, God. I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm not going to say anything bad about that man. He's a good egg. Literally looks like an egg.
I've heard that he's a little bit crappy.
No.
But I don't know. Apparently he's like he doesn't really interact with people.
Yeah.
Apparently when
I've heard the opposite. I've heard that he's just like the nicest, most humble guy.
Maybe I just talked to someone who had a bad experience with him. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, there you go.
I'm sure he's actually okay. I think if I was him, I'd be tired and like not want to talk to many people all the time.
Do you know what's funny? We have never really reviewed any Korean bands before, have we?
Oh my God, have we not? Yeah, we should. We've done Japanese and we've not done Chinese nor Indian. We've never done one rock. Okay, we need to work on this.
Oh, we need to jump on that.
We do. We could do some like geographical specials.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's how I used to consume music.
Oh.
I used to be like, do you know what? I wonder what the Czechoslovakia scene is up to. Well, it was would have been Czech Republic back then.
Yeah.
Czechia now. So
that's
changed
so
3 times in my lifetime. And I was like, you know what? And I found out they've got the most fucked up and random grindcore and gore grind known to man. Which I think I mentioned last week as well. But yeah. Speaking of bands who are a little bit closer to home, this week we are reviewing Green Lung.
Yes.
From London, England. Well, at least I'm presuming some of the members are from London, England.
I'm assuming so. I'm going to make that bold assumption now.
This is a band that is making many waves on the scene right now. They had a triumphant return to live shows at Bloodstock on the Sophie stage, which was, I think I might have mentioned before, was pretty cool. It was a very cool set. It was very enjoyable. And they had an absolutely rabid response from the audience. So I was quite excited going into this album. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I have Green Lung are awesome. They've been on my radar for a really long time. And they just seem like really cool people. And their fans are so dedicated. Like, I've never seen like a UK band at their level of such dedicated fans. And like, even before they got massive, they were really like always interacting with people online. Their merch has always been top of the game. And yeah, like everyone I know who likes them always has really wonderful things to say about them, including me. So it's a bonus that we're doing them this week.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice and wholesome. It's this album's mastered by John Davis, not of Korn, a different John Davis.
Oh, if only.
Probably be more scatting in it if it was.
That's the only criticism I have, that it hasn't been mastered by John Davis of Korn.
I'm not sure if he's ever mastered an album.
I think he should. I think he should give it a go.
Same person who mastered Sorceress by Opeth.
No way! Yeah. It's my favourite Opeth album.
And Pilgrims by Stone Jesus.
Damn! That's a very good choice.
Oh, Sorceress is your favourite album?
I think so. Yeah, the Sorceress track. I know everyone hates it, but that Sorceress track is so fucking good. I love it. It's my favourite Opeth. Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it so much. It's such a fucking good song. It's like one of my favourite songs ever. So there you go. I have terrible taste in Opeth.
Yeah, so who have we got? So we've got Joseph Gast on bass, who I believe is the new bass player for this album. We've got Matt Wiseman on drums, Scott Black on guitars, Tom Templar on vocals, and John Wright on organ. I want to talk a little bit about the organ, because the first track on this album, which is kind of like an instrumental, The Heroine, sounds very similar to... You ever listen to the track Foreplay / Long Time by Boston?
No.
It's like kind of like a double track, but the foreplay part of the track is just like loads of like dizzying organs and like crashing drums. This sounds like a really modern version of that.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'll play both of them for you side by side afterwards. And you'll hear good. Exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm curious about that, yeah.
And when reading a few reviews about this album and Green Lung in particular, I think the Boston comparison is quite a common one, mainly because of the use of the organ. And I think just because how happy some of the guitar riffs sound at times, but in a good way, not in a cheesy sort of corny way, but just in a kind of a summery, sinister. Like a warm cider. It's just, I mean, I don't even drink cider, so I don't know why I'm making that comparison.
But you can smell it.
Yeah.
You can smell the warm cider in your hand. Yeah, I get what you mean. It reminds me of, I always forget the name of this film, even though it's a wonderful film. Fuck's sake. With Christopher Lee, he's Lord Summerisle. Wicker Man. It reminds me of Wicker Man, where they have all these like beautiful folk songs that are like all major key, but it's really sinister.
Yeah.
And like, some shit is up. And this is the same with these guys, but it's like they've done their own modern version on that. And I really like that. I think it's such a nice vibe, this album.
Yeah. It's talking of films that didn't need a remake, fucking Wicker Man. There you go. Nicolas Cage of all people.
I think Nicolas Cage should get to remake any film he wants, but
we don't. Eyes.
We don't actually we pretend it's not happening.
Yeah, but no, you're right. There's quite a lot of, I think, especially on the first album, Woodland Ritual as well.
Woodland Rights?
Woodland Rights, sorry. Yeah.
I think.
Thank you for correcting me.
That's okay. Maybe I'm wrong. It is Woodland Rights.
It's there's quite a lot of references to those sort of practices. They've got a track called May Queen, and
Yeah.
And so I think it's quite cool that they're obviously connected to, or at least inspired by those sort of arcane practices.
I really like their connection to sort of the folklore of Britain.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it in the sort of, that means we're better than everyone else and we're going to be big fat racists way. They're doing it in like an actually like how it's interesting and cool way. There's no like weird political tension around it, and I really enjoy that because that's kind of what draws me to it personally and put me off it literally when I turned like a certain age and I realized, when people like this kind of thing, they're usually like they're kind of waving it in your face and being like, your culture's ruining my culture, but they're not doing that. It's really good. And I love the kind of traditional wood cutting they have on the artwork, and they've like continued that throughout their like works, their albums. The artist is really cool. I wrote down his Instagram handle because you can actually find him on Instagram. I think it's called Slippery Jack.
Yeah, I think his name's Richard Wells. I've got here for that. Are you talking about the first album or the second album?
Oh, they're not the same guy. I thought it was.
Oh, it is the same guy actually. Yeah, it's a good point. But yeah. One of those moot points I like to make. Yeah. That was a test.
He is called Slippery Jack on Instagram, but he's also called Richard Wells. So I don't know if Jack is like short for Richard. If it's like one of those weird English shortened name
Dick,
things.
wouldn't it, if it was short for Richard?
Dick Wells. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's called Slippery Jack, but I'm sure there's some cool reason. But his artwork
is
rocks.
super fucking good.
Yeah, it's like occult in British folklore, and like I like how they've not done what Ulver did and just straight up copy Blake. This guy's like, he's definitely got Blake influences. Like he's got like a demon goat that's 100% influenced by Blake's. You know what is it called? It's called the flea.
Yeah.
There's something in the flea, and it's like this weird like giant flea with like a top hat.
Yeah.
On a stage, and it's really cute. But he's got the same kind of deal going on, but in a non-super derisive way. Derisive.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. I nearly said divisive, and I was like, that's not correct.
Derisive?
I think it's derisive, like derivative.
Yeah.
Confusion. We are confused. But yeah, it's really cool. I really like that doing that, and it kind of heals the certain wound in my side when it comes to certain uses of folklore in metal, and I think they're doing a great job of kind of clawing it back from the wrong ends.
Yeah, it shows it could be done in a kind of like a wholesome way.
Yeah.
It's I like how they've got like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse on the.
Thanks, Sharon. I don't know if that came on. Oh fuck! What the fuck?
So went
broke
Pete on.
the podcast. The whole podcast is broken. Sorry. Like a light just fell down. The Shem's phone just went derisive. Was it derisive or derisive? Bring back the Google lady. Because those bots are famously great at pronouncing things.
Well, I should use that bot more fucking often.
Just use it
words I mispronounce. Just before I say any sentence, I'm just going to Google. You use that app first.
You need to make it say carcass for you.
Oh, fucking cock ass.
Cock ass.
Yeah, no, it's I was saying, I think it's quite cool how they've got the 4 horsemen on the stained glass. So it's it's a cool album cover.
It is a cool album cover, I agree.
And the production's great. I think it sounds absolutely fantastic. Produced by someone called Wayne Adams. I think the guitars sound super like euphoric and anthemic and sound really full. The drums are super crisp, like the toms sound really full, or the crashes and the cymbals are not tinny at all. Like they've got good resonance to them. I think the bass sounds fantastic as well. It's super audible. Just so many good tracks on this album. I love Leaders of the Blind, which I think was released as a single for this album. And the first kind of, fully fledged track as well, Old Gods, was really good. Just really catchy choruses as well, like the vocals.
They're so catchy. I've literally had them in my head for ages. Like the Let the Devil In chorus is so good. I don't even know if it's on this album.
That's on the first album.
Well, I've had it in my head for a million years.
It's just at times the vocals kind of remind me a bit of kind of Sad Wings of Destiny era Rob Halford.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
So like it's kind of like a weird cross between that and Ozzy. You hate saying Ozzy when you're as a comparison when you're reviewing like a Doom album because it's always the fucking obvious one, isn't it?
Well, I think it's an insult. Someone the other day was like, "Oh, your vocals sound like Ozzy Osbourne," and I was like, "The what?"
It's much better than Ozzy Osbourne.
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, like please do not. I don't know if it's always a compliment to compare vocals to Ozzy. No. Yeah.
But which is why I want to throw the Halford.
Halford is definitely
Halford is an accomplished fucking vocalist.
Is a better comparison.
It has a similar kind of timbre to the voice.
Yeah. It's like quite high up in the mask.
Yeah.
The singing, which I find quite unusual actually for like this genre, but I like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And I like how modern the album sounds as well.
Yeah.
There's a really good track, You Bear the Mark, which has another track that has a lot of catchy vocal melodies. It's got a nice organ solo, about 2 minutes 44 seconds. That kind of reminds me of The Doors. But like, it's having these traditional sounds and stuff that's normally associated with the 70s, but still making it sound quite modern and fresh. I think is quite good and quite hard to do, to be honest, because so many times you can make something that sounds like, I feel like I've used this word about 2 million fucking times, but like derivative of music of that decade. But that's totally not the case with Green Lung. Like, I think this sounds like it was released in 2021.
Yeah.
While still paying homage to like the influences and the music that is clearly influencing it.
Absolutely. You've got to hit the nail on the head there. I think the use of the organ in this album like really draws that together and like pulls it together in force. I think it's actually really underutilized in a lot of kind of like, I guess the kind of like psych. It's not really, this isn't psych, but in the kind of like stonery doom kind of stuff. Mainly, I think, because people can't get their hands on them a lot of the time. But oh my god, good organ on an album can like completely change how good it sounds. And I love that old school kind of Mellotron vibe. I mean, Opeth do it super, super well.
Yeah.
And like, if you removed those little, even though you don't always hear it in a song, if you took it away, it would be completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And I think that's what's so good about the music on this album as well. I think everything is quite masterfully composed, and like in every instrument supports each other in a way that it's all working towards the same sort of goal.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got any particular favorite tracks on this album that stand out to you? Or?
Well, I mean, the title track is fabulous.
Yep.
I really like that. You Bear the Mark as well. I just really like all the choruses. Like, every chorus made me happy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, it would just roll around in my head all day on repeat, but not in an annoying way, in a good way. How about you?
Well, I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with the last track on the album, Born to a Dying World.
Nice.
It's probably the most melodic track on the album, and it starts with like a really melancholic like organ line, but like just think the vocals and everything on this track is just so fucking like just I don't know. It's hard to put into words. But just my mind was a bit blown when I was listening to it, because I was like, fuck, like, and the guitars sound so fucking good on this track.
They
like
do.
They just everything sounds so pristine.
Yeah.
But I just fucking really love the track. That's all I can say about it. It's just like a great kind of like after like it's one of those ones, if I'm like I'm gonna sound like such a meathead here, but if I'm having like a session at the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm finished and I'm just chilling out and I'm on like the bus on the way back. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put on this track and just chill on the bus.
Nice.
And just jam to this for like a good 3 minutes or so.
Yeah, that is a good track for it. This is definitely like the kind of thing I'd put on if I'm getting ready to go out in the summer. Yeah. And I'm like dressing up and I want to feel good about myself, and I'd be like dancing around and like putting outfits together. That's definitely like that kind of summer like fun that I really enjoy. But it's also a really good winter album too. It's quite rare that I find, because I'm quite seasonal in the bands I listen to.
Yeah.
I tend to listen to like the heavier music in the winter and the lighter music in the summer, but I could definitely listen to this in the winter as well.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know, I could be a bit like that sometimes. I'm always in a bit more of a hardcore kind of vibe in the summer. Something about hardcore music in the blazing sun. It goes well together for me.
Interesting.
But then, yeah, I mean, winter is, I mean, it's such a bit of a cliche, but like it's definitely more of a black metal kind of, I mean, it just kind of lends to the, to the weather quite well.
I don't think black metal works on like a sunny afternoon in August.
No, well, I mean, well, yeah, we're talking of a sunny afternoon in August. I remember in 2013, I think Dark Funeral were playing at Bloodstock, and would have been the Friday, I think, and it was like maybe 2-3 in the afternoon, and it was like 30 fucking degrees, and it was just the corpse paint was melting off, and it was just like, it just doesn't work during the day. And it was kind of the same with Belphegor one year as well.
Oh my god.
And it was just like, fuck, this is way too hot to be listening to black metal.
Which band was it that was like, I think it was like in Europe, and like yeah, I can't remember who they had like fucking hoods, and they're like, we can't play, it's too hot.
That was Uada, or Uada, how you pronounce it. It was in Mexico, I think.
Oh, it's so funny, man. Yeah, it's like, we're big black metal boys, but it's too hot. We can't play. Yeah,
I think they had heat stroke. I saw a funny meme about that. Have you ever seen the GIF? I think it's Terminator with the guy at the fence, and he just, when the bomb goes off, he just melts away. It was just like Uada at a gig be like.
That's so funny. Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, I mean, there's like pop artists that do worse, honestly, like go through worse conditions. I find it funny that black metal guys are just like, I can't do it. But whatever. Green Lung is great.
Yeah,
it's
fantastic
really,
album.
really good.
Good job. And I could definitely see them having continued success.
They're gonna rise like even more than they already have. Their success is well deserved. It always makes me happy when a band like this gets coverage in mainstream press, which they have got, like in The Guardian and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I didn't realize they had coverage there. That's good.
Yeah.
Good for them.
It's very good for them. Good for them. Good for Green Lung. 10 out of 10 Green Lung. Thank you for a wonderful record. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
To Mystras, Empires Vanquished and Dismantled. So what did you think of this?
So this is an interesting album. I really, really enjoyed it. And I am a big fan of Hellenic black metal. And I love Rotten Christ. I think they're a fantastic band. There's another new band at the moment, which I think is actually formed of former members of Rotten Christ called Yoth Uriah. Have you ever heard them before? They've got a really good album out that they released this year as well. There's just something about that kind of, they've got like a really kind of just anthemic sounds to their guitar lines. And Ilos, the mastermind behind Mystras, and also Spectral Law, who that's a project that's been ongoing since about the early 2010s, at least anyway. I think that their first release was 2009, or maybe even a bit earlier, and like massively prolific. And he released a Spectral Law album this year, which was also fantastic. It is in the Greek language and alphabet, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. But yeah, and this is a great addition to his like story to discography. And what I like about this is how like the more focused traditional elements are kind of kept separate from the more black metal elements.
Yeah.
So like you've got the tracks which are more like instrumentals and kind of more folky with a lot of traditional instruments. Like he uses what's it called? A Turkish ney? Yeah.
Yeah, ney and santur. I think it's an Iranian. Oh, is it Turkish?
Well, it's listed as a Turkish
was
ney
Iranian.
on Metal Archives.
Cool.
And we all know Metal Archives are never wrong. They get everything right all the time.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a good juxtaposition because like you've got like it's like a real element of light and shade because you've got some tracks that are just completely quite brooding and atmospheric and haunting, and then a lot of the time most of the black metal tracks literally start with like the blast beats and like the tremolo riffs, and it's just kind of full stop for about 10 minutes. A lot of the tracks are near the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, but
there's some really good there's some really great shit on this album, and it's obvious that he's passionate about the subject matter and lyrics on the tracks as well. So it's about, well, as the album says, Empire's been vanquished and dismantled. So what's your take on the album? Because I know you happen to have a slight connection to this album.
A very minor connection. So I found out about this album because Ilos very kindly asked me to guest on one of the instrumental tracks, which happens to be the 5th track of the album. So I heard it before it came out and it was fucking massive and I was really excited about it. Not to toot my own horn or anything. It's mainly the black metal tracks I like, but I absolutely love what Ilos was doing because I'm very selective about who I work with as well. So he's like very anti-fascist. And this album is cool in that it's like the first one, Castles Conquered and Reclaimed, is like centered more like European medieval music, and the whole kind of this one is more about the Eastern music. So he's like shifting over to the East, and it's more kind of the Crusades from the point of view of people from the East, which I think is not something that's been done, especially not very well, because usually Crusades is like very much a patriotic kind of people singing about the Crusades. I kind of know how it's going to go. It's like, oh, fuck the Eastern people, haha, Constantinople, blah, blah, blah. I once went to a poetry reading aside, and there was this like old white guy in a church, and he was reading a poem about Constantinople, and he was comparing all the domes which would have been Istanbul, all the domes of the mosques to breasts. And then like halfway through, he like pauses and he looks so smug and he goes, Constantinople. And like,
oh god,
I was like 12 years old, sitting there with my aunt, and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit, man?" Yeah. Like, that was my introduction to like crusade themed stuff from like the Western point of view, and I was like, "Well, fuck this." So this was like a breath of fresh air. I'm really happy that I could be part of something that's a little bit different, and it's brutal. It's so fucking badass that someone's doing it from like the point of view of my ancestors, I guess. And yeah, like the track I was on it's called, the translation of Chiragh Zol Mizalem is Oppression's Fire, which is based on a Persian poem. And the actual track has lots of like Persian Arabic modes, not nodes. And I must say, I was looking at the kind of list of people involved on this, and it's awesome. So there's like an incredible operatic singer who does the instrumental track called Karling Chu on track 7, which is like a Germanic thing. I love the contrast and how basically all the instrumentals bookend the heavier songs, which are themselves like so complex, so fucking heavy, amazingly heavy. It's like really, really interesting black metal to me because of the really complex rhythmic structures within the metal, and like the way as well, like the scales are constructed, it's like very medieval to me, and it's kind of, it can seem, I guess, simplistic to some people, just the progressions, but then when you listen to it, you can hear like some real subtleties, and then when it's mixed together with all this like really complex rhythmic work, I love that. It's really cool. The layering is fantastic. And I've got to also shout out to Crass from Tool and Huan. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's like a badass French black metal one lady band.
Nice.
And yeah, like I actually didn't realize she was on this until I was properly researching it. But she's on the same track as me playing Santour. I really love her. You can find her on Instagram as well. She's also like a really cool badass lady who's doing, I think she's half Moroccan, and she does like really awesome black metal too. So shout out to her. And everyone on this as well is like very legit musician. Ilos as well, doing all this on his own. Really fucking cool. And you've got Stamatis Safaropoulos on Turkish Ney. You've also got Dimitris Korax, Avgustinos, who does percussion on tracks 1 and 5, and then Matthew Dakoutros, who does violins too. So you've got loads of proper instruments. It's not just like a computer generated thing going on.
Yeah, you could tell that when you're listening to it though, right? Like it's like the proper, like really the percussion that obviously isn't a drum, just a drum set, I should say.
Drum kit.
Yeah, drum kit. That's what I'm looking for. Jesus. It's just like, it just adds so much to like the more folky kind of like interlude style tracks. Totally.
I love it. It's really cool to have black metal that's like from a different perspective. And like, you know, it's not that this is the only thing out there, but this is kind of something that I've not found personally yet, and it's really cool to have this album. So it actually means quite a bit to me, because it's very rare that I find music like that.
No, I think that's great, and it's always good to hear things from a different perspective. And like, this is going to seem a bit strange, but like, have you ever played the game Dante's Inferno?
I've not. I've read the poem, but not the game.
So, but the game kind of centers around the fact that the main character was a part of the Crusades and was committing like, you know, fucking the most heinous shit imaginable. And then finding out that he wasn't actually pardoned, and that when it came for his judgment, he was sent straight to hell. Basically, he had to fight his way up through the 7 layers of hell and blah 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 blah. But it's but no, it's great. It's because, you know, too often it's interesting actually, because a lot of black metal and even some death metal is quite anti-Christian. But it's great to hear it be anti-Christian, but from a completely different kind of like cringy perspective.
Exactly. It's like usually that anti-Christian stuff will become as anti-everything, including the Jews. And then it's like, oh, including the Muslims, and that means like including brown people. And that's when it becomes really uncomfortable. So like, I am anti people who use religion badly, but I'm not anti-religion. And like, I think that people who start doing that, they kind of lose the humanity of what they were trying to get to in the first place. The thing that like they're against religion doing, which is dehumanizing people, and you in turn dehumanize them yourself. And it's like a little bit, you're doing kind of what you said you didn't like. So
but no, I'm totally with you when it comes to this album. I think it's one thing I love is just how all the elements are combined, especially on the more like the black metal, the heavier tracks. It really does conjure up that image of like a battlefield and like shit going down. Like, it does have that medieval kind of vibe to it, you know, like the drums are like blasting or galloping, and just then the riffs are just fucking absolutely furious. And there's some great acoustic work in it as well. I think the last track on the album,
it's beautiful.
In the Company of the Heretics, ends with quite a rousing crescendo, and then it ends with a quite beautiful acoustic passage as well. But yeah, just great. And I was really interested in researching all the subject matter and stuff, because I'm pretty uneducated when it comes to this side of the world. And one of the tracks, The Favor of the Saints, is apparently about a Bulgarian uprising against the Byzantine rule.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I love looking at translations and stuff as well. So the track with the vocalist Karlin Shu has, it translates to "How shameful is it?" So what that it is in reference to, I don't know. But I can only imagine the atrocities of war and
most likely
people going to places that don't belong to them.
Yeah, I really love that this is a piece of art that exists, and I hope more people stumble on it and realize it's actually cool to to kind of do your own thing, and you don't have to subscribe to a particular point of view just because a lot of other people do.
Well, I think it brings up an interesting kind of quagmire that a lot of artists get stuck in the scene, which is I feel like too many people tend to look at what others have done and do a carbon copy of it, or think, okay, well, that's what I need to do to be successful, or that's the lyrical subject matter I need to take, or that's the stance I need to take, when in actuality, like, the real way to stand out, the bands that are often the successful ones are the ones that are just like, fuck it, I'm going to write about and perform music and center it around themes that are important to me.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes those themes are questionable.
They sure are.
But, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, it's, you've got to suppose, for better or worse, if you're keeping true to yourself, the music's going to be more genuine.
Yeah.
But it's, and that's totally, you could totally hear that coming through on this album. Like, you know, it's, I don't need to listen to another album about fucking people being murdered, or, you know, I don't need to listen to anything about fucking Jack the Ripper, or you know, all these tropes, and fucking, I'm trying to think of examples, like fucking like John Wayne Gacy, or fucking, you know, I mean, that shit's all been done to death, and it's
literally,
like, yeah,
hey.
no pun intended.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, so I just like shit that's kind of authentic and it's different.
Yeah.
And it's just keeping true to sort of who you are and the shit that you give a shit about.
There is so much stuff out there that is inspiring that people haven't had the time to go into yet.
Yeah.
And like, there's just so much cool stuff, and I can't wait to see what other people do. Like listening to this and realizing, oh, so I can write a concept album about how much I fucking love Lego or some shit like that. I mean, I'm sure that exists somewhere, but it's just, do your own thing. It's good. Someone's gonna like it.
One thing, there is an album out there about like Lego somewhere.
I'm sure there is. We gotta find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a Harry Potter themed black metal band.
Of course there fucking is. They're called like Dementor or Patronus. Or
the album's called I think it's called the Seven Horcruxes.
Oh, it's so lame. That's so lame.
But I can't remember what the fucking band's called.
I thought there were 9 Horcruxes. I don't care.
But it's but yeah, I mean, I suppose we're of that age now where, like, I suppose people grew up with Harry Potter will be in their 30s now.
They think it's grim and true.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh god. Oh man, that's so. I mean, I don't know if this is going to get edited out, but I remember when we started the band, Shem really wanted to be called Lucius as a stage name, and I was like, you shouldn't do that. Wow. That's a Harry Potter character. And he was like, but I love the name Lucius. And I was like, please don't do this. It's a cool name. It's a beautiful name, but it's been ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also ruined. As a child, I wanted to be called Scorpius. So I changed my name to Scorpius.
I love Scorpius.
Yeah.
Was that because of Farscape?
No, it wasn't. But it was.
Wow.
I don't know. I just think, like, what's a cool? What's a cool sounding name? I was like, Scorpius sounds cool. No, I just didn't realize, like, because I don't know. Because I think even though Floyd in itself is quite a unique name,
it's an awesome name,
especially for the reason why it was named after them as well. My parents being massive Pink Floyd fans. But I don't know. You're never going to think your own name's cool, though, right?
Yeah, I don't like my name, but I don't want to change it because it was given to me.
Yeah.
So I'd feel weird changing my name. But I think sometimes people need to for other reasons, you know?
Yeah, no, which is totally cool.
My name's cool.
Shem's name is very cool. Shem's got a great name.
Even your name and surname. It's like a wrestler, like Shem Lucas. Sorry, did you want your full name said on camera?
Yeah.
Shem Lucius Malfoyus. Shem has sent me a picture saying there's 8 Harry Potter metal bands, and it's a blurry. It's not loaded on my phone. Hang on, I've got it. So there's a power metal band called Azkaban. Just so fucking lame.
Azkabanter.
There's a folk symphonic melodic death metal band called Elsevier, aka Hogwarts.
Oh.
Oh no. There's a black/death metal band, and this is horrible, called Muggle Death Camp, aka MDC.
Shit, they might be the one that have the album Seven Horcruxes.
I think they are, because I've heard of them before. And then there's a metalcore band called the Rotfang Conspiracy. I don't even know what that's in reference to. Rotfang, is that some like dragon disease or some shit? Then there's a heavy thrash black metal band that's just called Voldemort. Amazing. There's an atmospheric black metal band called Slytherin. And there's a symphonic power metal band that I've also heard of called Grim Gots. Which is so fucking... Oh, and there's another one. Heavy metal, punk, hard rock. Rubius and the Hagrids.
Oh, God.
So lame. I'm sorry, guys. You're not invited on the Serpent Temple podcast. Unless you want to come on and apologize for what you've done to music.
But saying that, playing devil's advocate, the amount of bands that straight up fucking copied Tolkien's work as well and were named after.
It's true.
There's a lot. Even like popular bands. You forget like a Monomarth.
Falls of Rauros.
Yeah. Forgot about that, yeah. Led Zeppelin.
But they're not named after. Wait, what? When does Tolkien reference Led Zeppelin?
I was thinking, am I like a Tolkien poser? It's like Led Zeppelin something in there.
Shem just how Tolkien does. Well, they have one about is it like a Gandalf-y song, right? Like
I can't remember.
They have I know the Led Zeppelin. Ramble on, yeah. I got a ramble or some shit. He talks about rambling so much.
He's like, and then that evil golem. Like, he literally says something like that. It's horrible.
It's really weird. Yeah, there's loads of Tolkien stuff, but I feel like Tolkien's a bit more credible than.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, 100%. Obviously, Gorgoroth as well. Forgot about that.
Yeah, Gorgoroth. Yeah. I have a hot take. So, well, not really a hot take. There's going to be loads of Wheel of Time metal bands in like a year.
Yeah.
Because Wheel of Time TV series just dropped. And it's interesting. I don't know, you've not watched any, have you?
No, but you said that you're somewhat enjoying it.
I am. I read all the books this year, like 1 to 14 or whatever, how many there are, and the prequel. I really love them. They're like definitely up there with my favorites. But there are like definitely issues with the books, and I feel like a lot of book fans are really angry with the series because they've changed so much stuff. Yeah. And there were definitely moments where I was like, "Why the fuck have you done this? This is unnecessary." But then I've kind of been like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck it. This is like when there's a Star Trek film. I know it's not really going to be it's not going to be perfect, and they're going to change stuff, but it's cool that that's actually out there and it's going to make new fans and more people are going to be attracted to reading the books, and it's nice that it's not like the books because I'm going to watch this and be surprised by things, and I like that because that's what I loved about the books. It's
sometimes like if you just if a TV show converted from a book or a film is a carbon copy of what was on paper, then it doesn't work. Like,
you can't do it.
You can't compare the forms of media. Exactly. I think this is why like Lord of the Rings is such a highly lauded film trilogy. I mean, The Hobbits. I mean,
forget The Hobbit.
Cash grabs. But sorry, Shem. I think he likes The Hobbit.
His favorite film of all time.
He cried when Philly and Killy died. But my brother, who you also know, he's not read any of the books, and he had it spoiled for him that Thorin Oakenshield died, and he was so pissed off. I was like, "What? I can't believe it!" I was like, "Well, look, put 2 and 2 together. Is he in the Lord of the Rings films?" Well, there you go.
If he was, he would have taken the ring.
Yeah, no, he definitely would have.
Yeah, 100%. He'd be like,
greedy bastard.
The ring and the Arkenstone, horrible combination.
Yeah, and I still think the Arkenstone is a Silmaril. Just throwing that out there.
I think you're right. I think it is. Definitely.
But you think there's going to be a lot of Wheel of Time metal bands then, do you?
There's already loads of Wheel of Time metal, but I think there's going to be a hell of a lot more. I think there's going to be bands themed around it. And I think it will be not as cringe as Harry Potter. Hopefully they'll do some good stuff. I'm pretty excited for it. I hope more people start watching it.
Oh, that's good. I'll probably give it a shot at some point. I still need to watch The Sopranos so I can watch the holy trinities of shows. So The Wire, Breaking Bad, Sopranos. Don't know why my voice cracked on Sopranos. Sopranos. Ironically, my voice went soprano. We're trying to pronounce soprano.
There you go.
But I can't remember what my original point was now. Yeah, I'll probably watch Wheel of Time at some point. Blind Guardian have a song called Wheel of Time. It's like a 10-minute long track. It's pretty good.
The Blind Guardian have a song about all my favourite fantasy stuff, except Tamora Pierce, who was inspired by a Wheel of Time character when she wrote her first ever series of books, which I love.
Apparently, Wheel of Time quite heavily inspired the Game of Thrones.
Oh, books, so heavily.
Or Song of Fire and Ice, I should say.
It's way better than Game of Thrones as well. It's like 1,000 times better. The ending is better too.
Yeah. Fuck me, that was so bad.
Yeah, the author of Wheel of Time actually died like 1 or 2, maybe 3 books before the series ended.
Oh, no way.
And then someone else called Brandon Sanderson stepped in and finished the books. And he did a fantastic job. People do criticize some of the things he did, and like it was a huge, because by then already it was a huge series and everyone had so many expectations, and he had to one-handedly just do it all.
I mean, that's a big fucking task to take on. I mean, Like, I mean, that's what Christopher Tolkien kind of. I mean, he didn't even.
I don't like Christopher Tolkien's writing at all.
No.
It's awful.
And like Silmarillion, like it's not even a book. It's just like a compendium of fucking notes, and But so I mean, fair play to that guy for doing that because, like, that's no small feat.
He did a great job, and his own series are really good.
Yeah. Okay.
I thoroughly recommend like the Stormlight series and Mistborn. But that's another thing. That's a whole aside.
So, what other albums have we been checking out this week that we don't have time to do a full review of?
Ooh, so I loved the new Archspire.
I can't wait to listen to that.
It's really heavy. It's very Mozart inspired. There's like actually loads of Mozart riffs in it, but in a really cool way.
Oh man, does it still have like almost rapping guttural vocals? Yeah. I love that shit.
The vocals are so like soft at the same time. They're like very soft and wet.
Quite soothing, isn't it? Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
So do you reckon they're coming for Necrophagist's mantle as like the technical death metal band?
I love Necrophagist, and they will always be the band that broke me into that kind of music. But this is definitely better than Necrophagist. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds more. I don't know. Like, is it necrophagist or necrophagist?
I've went between numerous pronunciations over the years. I've heard more people say necrophagist than anything else, so that's what I'm sticking with.
It's like you say necropolis, you don't say necropolis.
Yeah, necrophagist sounds quite good though.
Necrophagist sounds more metal. Yeah. It's
like the behemoth argument over again.
I would say behemoth. I think behemoth is like
Meshuggah.
I say Meshuggah.
Meshuggah.
Boil it, mash it, stick in a stew. I keep kicking the light.
I remember the first time I heard someone who spoke Yiddish say Meshuggah. It was just so cool.
Huh?
Meshuggah. I was like,
it took me literally years and years and years to realize that Meshuggah was Yiddish.
Oh, really?
It's like, what? That's crazy. I love that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out that Archspire album. The guitarist Dean Lamb, I think his name is. That's right. Yeah. Shem's nodding, so go for it.
That's right, yeah.
He's got his own YouTube channel, and he's got like it's great, isn't it? He's doing like, it's just like some great content on there, and like they seem like great guys as well, and like and he can do those vocals live, which is fucking impressive. Sorry, what was that?
Guitar? You mean the guitarist? The guitar thing?
I'm talking. I'm just. My brain's gone a million miles per hour. I mean, he could do guitars. I'm talking about the vocalist now.
Okay.
He could perform those vocals live. Then the
Amazing.
guitarist can and all the members of the band can do that shit, which is like pretty inhuman. Like I would say they're up there with like Origin in terms of their like technical prowess, because Origin are another band who are just who shouldn't be as good for how technical they are, because sometimes it just devolves into just complete nothingness and meaningless notes. What have I been checking out? I checked out the Pathology album, which is pretty good. They're quite a prolific band. They've released probably about album 12 over the span of like 13 years.
That's a lot.
But it's just great, like really fucking super guttural, but like catchy, like kind of death grind. Not too dissimilar to bands like Aborted or even some parts of Cattle Decap. But it's good shit. I enjoyed it. That's the stuff I get down to. So if I get down, I don't mean have sex.
If you did, no judgment. Yeah. But thanks for clarifying. Now everyone knows.
Yeah, get down to Pathology. Oh, God.
That's a whole episode we'll never do.
Yeah, I've got a really NSFW anecdote, but I'll save it for another time.
Fair enough.
But yeah, what else has dropped? I still need to listen to the Swallow the Sun album.
Me too, yeah.
So I'll check that out at some point. Shem's got an album on his mind at the moment. What's called A Dream Unending.
Oh, yeah, he loves that album.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's very grunty.
And the new Stormkeep album's pretty good. Not much is known about the band, but they're making some big waves in the melodic black metal scene. It's a really, really good album. Kind of reminds me of like early Dissection.
What the fuck are you
done
doing?
It again. He's searching his pronunciations.
Shem is just bombing the podcast with random fucking Google. Okay. Would you like to pronounce anything else while you're here? It's cringing so hard right now.
I tell you who else have a new single that I listened to in the gym today. Korn have a new single out.
Do they scat?
Huh? There's no scatting on it. He does a bit of like... He's been getting into growling recently, which I've been finding quite interesting.
Okay.
On the new album, or the last album he did. What's it called, Shem? I can't remember. Do you remember? Fuck. Let me search quickly.
You aren't true Korn fans.
listened to Issues the other day. Great album.
Is it called Torn? Have they done an album called Torn? Torn
Just
by
released. They've got a single called "Start the Healing,"
Wow.
which is like pretty standard latter day Korn. But
Okay.
the album's called "The Nothing." That was the last album. But yeah, but it's got like some really surprisingly heavy moments on it. There was a moment on this single that was also quite heavy. That was always a bit of a surprise because I think that Korn, a band who are almost 30 years into their career, they had a period where they were kind of nosediving a little bit and just releasing to some really uninspired shit. But they kind of seem to have sobered up a bit and pulled it back, I think. So
Good.
fair play to them.
Good on you, Korn. I can't profess that I'm a fan, but I appreciate that you guys appreciate them.
Nice. And I appreciate that you appreciate that we appreciate them.
It's a whole wheel of appreciation. Yeah. Is there any other new tidbits of musical?
Nah, nothing really going on too much in the metal world at the moment, is there?
No. I mean, Gravelines are playing a show tonight, but this is going to be a day late when it comes out, so sorry. I mean, I'm sure it was a great show.
No.
Yeah, they played at
So
Helgies.
where was that they were playing?
Helgies.
Yeah.
Very small, tiny area.
I'll be watching Turnstile in February.
Are you?
Yeah, at the Roundhouse.
That's going to be really good.
So that'd be good. I think they had a one date planned for the Forum, which I think sold out pretty quickly. So then they booked a second date for the Roundhouse, which is actually really funny because I would rather go to the Roundhouse
It's much better. Yeah.
than the Forum. So I'm just like, oh well, we got the good end of the stick there. So that's
Do you
going
get
to be.
seated or standing?
I think it's in the main circle bits and standing
okay.
bit, which is probably going to be a mistake because it's probably going to be wild. I've seen their live shows on the what's
Hate 56?
Hate 56. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it just looks fucking like pandemonium.
Yeah, I've got to that age where I just want to sit down at concerts now, which I was always like front row or else.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I want to go sit down and have a cup of tea.
See, I like being at the front row, but I need to support my legs, so I've got something to lean on.
I can't be in the second row. I've got to be at the front. Yeah.
It's got fuck all to do with wanting a good view. I'm just like, I just need to take the weight off my legs.
I love that. That's literally the only time I ever use the front row. It's like, I mean, I'll do it with some bands, but even like we went to see a Sleep show. We saw them in Brixton, and there was a fucking pit for Sleep, and Shem got kicked in the fucking spine.
Fuck's sake.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
What was that? Brixton Academy?
I think no, it was
Oh.
Brixton. It's something in Brixton, right? Oh, same
Shepherd's Bush
shit.
Empire.
Yeah, they're all just one big venue of the past now. It's like I know there's the HMV Forums with the Sloping Floor. I know Roundhouse. All the North London ones, but anything slightly south is just all a big blur.
That's cool. Yeah, is Shepherd's Bush Empire still being built up, or is it open again? Because it was
know.
pretty dilapidated at one point.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
think so.
Do you remember the church in Brixton? What was that called? Was that
Oh
like
my God.
Black Mass?
Church in Brixton. I know St
That's
Matthew's
where I
Church.
saw Aeon.
You've got Electric in Brixton, and then obviously the Brixton Academy. But what's the
It was
other venue?
Electric.
I don't know. I don't think
That
I've-
was a church. It was a really cool venue.
Electric is right next to St Matthew's Church, but
It was in the church.
shit, I don't know about this.
Or maybe it's not a venue anymore then. They used to do Torture Garden there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really cool venue. I saw Aeon, and who was it? It wasn't Malevolent Creation. Maybe it was. I hope it wasn't. This was before I knew about Malevolent Creation. It was like a really. Oh God, what's that? They had like a female guitarist, and she was really fucking cool. Do you remember they're Scottish, I think.
Oh, Cerebral Bore.
Cerebral Bore. It was Cerebral Bore.
They had she was the vocalist.
She was a vocalist. This was like more than 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they played in that venue, and I can't remember who else it was. It was a really good lineup.
Yeah.
I still have a shirt from them, but I don't use the shirt because it's got Joseph Fritzl on it.
Oh, jeez.
Back then, I was an edgelord, and I
Yeah.
distanced myself from myself. The Nina of that era was an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have this shirt, and I don't want to throw it away because I don't want anyone to find it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants that shirt, like, maybe I should just burn it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like every time I look for my CDs and find that disgorged forensic CD. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm just like, fuck, I need to keep this CD well hidden.
Yeah.
This album cover is so fucking grotesque.
There's so much stuff I don't want people to find when I die. But yeah.
Wow. No, that sounds like a good gig. I don't know that. I was born in Brixton, but so I've got no fucking knowledge of this venue.
Did you? What is it called?
Only church I've been to was the Het Patronat in
Oh my
Roadburn,
God.
which unfortunately is not part of Roadburn anymore.
Shem sent me a Roxins review. Yeah, it was April 2011. I reviewed it too, but I think the website's gone down. Sorry, what did you say?
I was just saying the only church venue I've been to was the one that was in Roadburn.
Oh, that's such a nice venue.
It was great.
They closed it, didn't
that
they?
had seats that had really plush like sofas up at the top. So I was just sitting there, just completely like just chilling out. I was like, this is great.
So it was Trenchhead, Engorgement, Ancient Ascendant. I forgot about them.
Oh yeah, they were London, weren't they? Well, definitely English.
They were, but I think I know Nariman moved to Sweden.
Oh, okay.
And Flake Disciple as well.
Oh, Flake Disciple were great. They're like a thrashy, like a death, like a yeah.
I think I've got them on CD from that gig.
Yeah.
So I think I might give it to you because I never use my CDs anymore.
Yeah. I really like Flake Disciple. I think I remember first hearing them on one of those Terrorizer sampler CDs. They had a track on there when I still used to buy magazines.
It's called Mass. The venue was called Mass.
Oh no,
so
never fucking heard of it. That's crazy.
Really cool venue. Yeah, I can't believe Roxins is still up. That's madness. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go. And if you ever want a good laugh, well, not a good laugh, it's actually pretty crazy. Search what's his name from Malevolent Creation, and find out the weird shit that guy's been up to.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Fasciano. He's so fascist. Even his name is fucking. He just drops the N-bomb like unapologetically, and it's disgusting. Like fuck that guy. Fuck him.
Fuck. I mean, the controversy surrounding that guy is insane.
Yeah, so fucking gross. Yeah. Like fuck Malevolent Creation.
Fuck Malevolent Creation.
Yeah.
God damn
it.
Seems like a good note to end on.
Yeah. On that note, fuck Malevolent Creation. Thank you for listening. And let us know what you've been listening to that's new. We'd love to hear what you guys think as well. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to be on the show, hit us up. We are always happy to interview musicians. So thank you for listening and watching. Goodbye.
Till next time.